training partners. Here come your training partners. So smart, so strong, so funny. Let's go with your training partners.
Team, welcome to Training Partners, where two fitness professionals bring you strong takes held loosely. I'm Wheezy Shoemaker, and I didn't take a single breath in that whole sentence. And I'm joined, as always, by Justin McClintock, and we reach you past Snowmageddon 2026. Well,
assuming this is it. We're assuming at time of recording, we think this is the bad one.
we think this is the bad one.
It's pretty
at time
remarkable.
Of recording.
This is a big
it's
one.
Pretty bad, yeah. We got 21, somewhere between 18 and 24 inches of snow, depending on where in Columbus you are. However, I have so many friends in Nashville who got hit with the ice instead of the snow. Yeah. And most of them still don't have power at this point. Yeah. A couple of my clients are in Nashville, and totally up to their discretion whether or not they feel like movement would be helpful or hurtful to them. But one of them in particular, she's incredible. I bet she will listen to this. She worked out in a 38-degree garage on Sunday and was like, it took a while to get warm, but like, what else am I going to do?
Yeah. That's amazing. What I wouldn't give for a 38-degree garage gym. As someone who worked out in an 8-degree garage gym this morning.
No. That would be when I'd pivoted to like an indoor Tabata or a 10-to-1 or something. You are fiercer than I am.
It's just going to be this cold for a while. We have talked about that, doing the work to put the infrastructure in to potentially put in like a real heater for next winter. But
sure.
I strongly suspect there's some electrical infrastructure that isn't there. It's not just buying. I mean, the things are expensive, but I think it's more than buying the thing. I think it's going to be like running some power through underground, through conduit that I believe already exists, but running power underground and tying it in and some other stuff that I just don't think it exists.
Right. So you'll be referencing our Hire a Pro episode when that's time. Not
Very
be trying to
so.
Justin DIY that.
I'm good with electricity, but there's a level of taking the power from the city that starts getting like, if this goes bad, it could go so bad. And this house is so old with so many weird, like 17 versions of wires coming in. Like, I'm going to let someone who works on old houses, electricity all day in this area for a living handle this one.
Justin's named house is going to be on this old house, and he'll just blend right on in with the background.
Oh my God. What I wouldn't give. It's a new guy now. It's not Norm anymore, I don't think. I think a new guy's doing
Norm Abrams, right?
Yeah.
It's Norm Abrams.
Norm Abrams.
Yep.
Yeah. Who inherited it from Bob Vila, who you're probably too young for. Bob Vila started this old house.
I mean, keep in mind that I had extremely limited access to what I could watch.
Oh, that's right.
As a kiddo. And this old house.
So this old house was like the equivalent of me watching like Terminator 2.
Yeah, kind of. Yes. Norm Abrams, Bob Vila. We got some weather, and fortunately it's extremely light and fluffy, but as we were kind of riffing on a little bit before we started recording, my kids are not in school. And I got the call about an hour ago from my oldest school that they're going to be closed again tomorrow. I reckon Jack is going to end up being home as well. Daycare will close.
Yeah.
And so I did the math, and my kids have been in school for exactly 12 days since December 19th. 12 days.
Time of recording is almost a month ago.
That's more than a month.
More than a month ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
coming on 5 weeks ago.
Coming on 5 weeks ago. 12 days of school. And so then I did the math too and was like, okay, well, hang on. How many of those days have I worked? I have had 21 working days since the 19th of December. And I take a pretty like casual, like laissez-faire approach to how I plan my week. Like, I usually don't see clients on Wednesdays. I've had a couple of mental health days in there. 21 days.
You also took a vacation.
We also took a vacation, which was not really a vacation.
Sure, but
it was parenting somewhere else.
Right. But you were not at work. You were
I was not at work.
actively other
That's
times.
correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. I took 12 full consecutive days out of the gym, and still
Somehow.
I don't know if y'all know this, but 21's greater than 12. How are we doing this?
Mm-hmm. It
And
sounds
so
tiring.
it's exhausting, and I'm not even really the one that carries most of the burden of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
honestly, because Ted has the flexibility to work from home, and because we don't have close family local that we could call up and say like, hey, can you come
Right.
take the kids for a couple of
Built-in
hours?
childcare. Yeah.
Right. And even if we could, I don't know that either set of parents would necessarily want to drive in this weather anyway if there's
Oh,
21
fair.
inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
And so, yes, while I'm extremely grateful for that one of us works remotely, it's really kind of a shit deal for him
Yeah.
because he's got to figure out how to be like both dad Ted and keep the house in place husband and like productive director Ted.
Yeah. And do his job.
Yeah, it's a losing deal. It's a losing
His
deal. So,
ostensibly full-time occupation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. If you're a parent and you're listening to this and you're feeling really seen and understood, I've got no advice.
Yeah.
I have no advice. Besides, if you have the setup to be able to somewhat do it all and nothing really super duper falls apart, that is an extraordinary privilege.
Yeah.
And that's like the morsel that I'm clinging to. And it's like, but I would like a fucking break. I'm so tired.
Yeah. Well, and the other side of it is, and I would like offer this to you as a friend and offer this to people who don't have those resources or opportunities, is that barely good enough is pretty amazing in these circumstances.
Yeah. Right.
And if you're not barely good enough, if you're like, actually, 3 out of the 10 things I wish were happening just aren't, that's still a passing grade. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay. There's people who don't have heat. There's people who are trying to figure out how to get food. We were talking about sidewalks, and there's definitely places in Providence where I'm like, I don't know how people are going to navigate because some sidewalks have been cleared, but some haven't. And then plows have built up the corners. And if those weren't cleared, even if a sidewalk leads out into the street, the next curb cut has literally 7 to 10 foot piles of snow on it. And like, are we asking, like, not even someone disabled, like a senior citizen with a little bit of a limp, what are they supposed to do? And it becomes effectively impassable.
Right.
And now what?
Right. Right. I had 4 clients scheduled today and 2 ended up needing to cancel. One had to cancel really, really late because they realized when they were trying to get to their car that a plow had come and like quite literally boxed them in. And they were like, I'd like to get to you. There's no
Not in the next hour.
there's no feasible way for me to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, great. Your workout is shoveling. Good luck.
Yeah, we ended up doing like 6 or 7 shoveling passes during the snow just to stay ahead of it. And the plow thing kept happening too, but it would happen like once. So it was, a lot, like 12 to 18 inches of plow, but it wasn't again and again and again.
Right.
So we were able to stay not ahead of it, but it was never awful. It was always a bit of work, but at no point did I say like, I guess we'll have to let this melt. And looking at the forecast, it's going to be like fucking mid-March before it melts.
Right. Yeah. I did not shovel at her house. Ted fell on the sword for that, which very grateful for. He shoveled twice. And I thought I escaped it, and then I got to sustain this morning and it had not been shoveled. It's like, well, nobody else is gonna do it.
Yep. Business owner life.
Right.
Let's see if the pipes are frozen.
Right. Thankfully they're not. And thankfully the heat is on and working quite well. So grateful for that.
For sure.
There's something else that's been going on recently that's also related to cold things that is going to tie in really, really nicely to where we're going today. And I want to caveat this with saying this is going to be a political episode. And if you don't like that, you can leave.
Yeah. Swipe back. We've got another 20 something already recorded at this point. There's
Yeah.
probably more waiting.
There's
You
others for
do
you.
not have to listen.
That said, if you are open to the conversation, we would be grateful if you'd stay here with us.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of political activity lately, and without like getting into all the intricacies of that, because I am not a trained political commentator. That's not my role in the ecosystem. We've been watching and hearing a lot of pretty tremendously terrible things happening to people who are not doing illegal things, that we are being sold a different message from the federal government on what those things are. And to be more specific, there are some citizens that have either been injured or killed within the last couple of days that were completely within their right and not doing anything wrong. And we are watching in real time the major media machine and the government tell us that these people were actually very in the wrong, and to reject what we're seeing and hearing with our own eyes.
Yeah. Just absolutely pure fascism. All of the stuff that people said, well, that could never happen here. That's all happening here.
Right. And so I'm remembering, when election day, on election day, I was not in the US. I was somewhere else working on a work contract among many people who think and vote differently than I do. And I remember waking up that morning with like such an existential sense of dread of I feel what's coming, and feeling very dismissed by other people. And now just sort of feeling rage related to that. Hey, we're here. We're finding out all these things that you said would never, could never happen. They're happening.
Yeah, exactly. And and I have a very, very, very hard time. I didn't believe those people then. I didn't believe that they didn't see it. Most of the people I was talking to, I'm
Sure.
aware that like the education in America system in America has been under attack for coming on 50 years and has gotten significantly worse. And there's lots of people who literally don't know things. And it's not through no fault of their own. They were not trained to absorb things. We are surrounded by a media system that is designed to outrage you and feed you exactly what you want to hear and nothing else. So you can go places to hear just that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember that morning very clearly and being really a little surprised in a few people who I thought I knew better.
Yeah.
And sort of shaking my head and be like, oh, well, I thought better of you and I'm incredibly disappointed. And now you're not in my life.
Yeah.
Like you're not a friend. We're not reaching out. If I'm forced to interact with you, I can manage that professionally, but you are off the list. And now it feels even better.
Yeah. Yeah. And so why talk about this why talk about this at all on a podcast by fitness professionals for fitness professionals? And the reason for that is that I imagine both of us at some point on the internet or in our real lives have been told to stay in our lane.
Yeah. Shut up and dribble.
Yeah. Just like, hey, can't you just like go do some squats?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up about politics. You don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
And we're going to scope in probably the least possible eloquent way why fitness is political and why more people in fitness should potentially be having these conversations.
Yeah, 100%. And putting it out there, like I feel easy about this conversation. I don't know exactly what we're both going to say, but I feel very safe and confident. We have a bunch of resources and facts of our own lives that make that a little bit easier. If you have people in the fitness sphere that you admire that aren't saying anything, I think that's extremely notable right now.
That's a tell.
I'm not the person who says, because there's, the 24-hour news cycle, there's something new every day, maybe every 48 hours that, someone running a small business has to also make it their job to comment on the latest zoning decision or the latest bridge being built or that. But we are we're just talking about humanity. Like I almost reject it as a political discussion, because this isn't politics. This is just humanity. You're not like, it's politics in that the system of government is being completely corrupted and changed. But the stuff we're talking about is kind of, are those people, do they deserve to live? Is there such a thing as due process? None of that feels essentially political to me.
Right. I think that's really, really, really important to call out, because like prior to, the last 8 years, if you would have asked somebody like, hey, is human rights a political concern? Be like, no, that's
Everyone agrees
just
on
like
human rights.
the
That's something we all
baseline.
agree on. Yeah.
Right. And you would think of politics as like, we can disagree on how this side of the street should be zoned and what the speed limit should be here, and what our tax rate for the next school levy should be. We can disagree on those things and still like have a perfectly wonderful, beneficial relationship. We cannot disagree on like women are people, or people with different skin colors are inherently more capable of crime,
Yeah.
or as we pertain it over to like the maternal mortality crisis, where Black and brown bodies are dying at a significantly higher rate than white bodies in and after labor. We cannot disagree on like, well, yeah, but just white bodies are just better equipped to birth. Like, no.
Yeah.
Or like Black women inherently are overreacting. Like, no, Black women are actually dying. They're underreacting.
Yeah, exactly. And it's an example, and I don't want to derail where you're going, because I think it's really important, of that there's there's kind of two classes in a way in most societies, and certainly this country, and this is sort of highlighting it to a really ugly degree. And there's a class who do not have to follow the laws, but are protected by the laws.
Right.
And there's the other class, which are not protected by the laws and have to follow the laws. And they will get punished if they don't. And the other, the first class, if they break the law, they likely won't get punished, or it'll be much less severe. So it is not an even playing field. It is deeply unfair. And the rules seem to be changing daily, maybe hourly.
Right. So we're going to do our darndest to sum this up a little bit and try to explain.
Wing away about her.
You'll fix this in post, right?
Totally. It just goes to like Ted Koppel's voice or something for 20 minutes. We're like, yeah, we really messed that up. We had to call in the big guns.
It was just really terrible. So
it was a $40,000 cameo, but it was worth it.
So I want to talk about the idea of fitness as identity formation first, because I think that that's really, really important at understanding why fitness is political, and why there are maybe some creators who are shouting on the internet and some who are maybe not speaking at all, right? So fitness, as we think about it, intersects with power dynamics and gym culture that often can emphasize personal responsibility over like a collective community of support.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Think of like the broest right-wing bro, right? And we all have the same 24 hours, and I work as hard as anybody else, and like this I have made my fitness into my identity. I would argue that likely that person is really far right-winged and also has a tremendous amount of other conservative values that they are like wearing as their hat. Like this is who I am, this is how I present. While that totally ignores things like affordability, accessibility, socioeconomic status, upbringing, the community that we have maybe access to even fitness in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? So the first thing that I want to dive into is the access itself. Because fitness is not a neutral, accessible thing.
Yeah. Not at all.
right? It demonstrates a luxury of at least time, right? You at least have to
Mhm.
have a baseline amount of free time. You have to have a safe space in which to engage in fitness. You have to have the income to pay for some amount of something, even if it's just like, I need a pair of pants that I can work out in,
Mhm. Yep.
right? Like, if you don't have an extra $10 a month to go and buy a pair of pants off the discount rack somewhere, you might be limited by that in fitness,
Yeah,
right?
for
Or
sure.
let's say, hey, cool, I have the money to sign up for a Planet Fitness that is $20 a month, but I don't have the money to buy shoes. Okay, well, you can't train in your bare feet, so you probably can't come in, right? Lower income communities often also have less access to things like community centers, safe spaces to walk or run outside, parks where you could take your kids and walk a couple of laps around them, right? I cannot train if I don't have space to train.
Yeah, it's literally not possible. This isn't we're not talking about, oh, they had to walk 2 more blocks or oh, they had to drive 5 more minutes or oh, they had to work an hour of overtime once a week, once a month to pay for the gym membership. We're talking about it is just out of reach. And there's,
Yeah.
of course, we talk about this all the time. There's levels of this for everybody, right?
Yes.
Like you and I are out of reach for most people, frankly. But some level of fitness is theoretically accessible for a lot of people, but the bar and access is much more difficult in a lot of cases.
Right. Imagine how much harder it would be for you to commit to your fitness routine if you had to drive 40 minutes out of your way to access a safe space to do that.
Exactly.
Like, and I can already kind of feel the harping through the speakers on some folks of like, just get a pair of dumbbells and do it at home. What if that's
Yeah.
not an option?
Yeah. You just said a couple $100 out loud.
Yeah, right. The next one I want to move on to is the ideological divide of fitness, which is more of the making it your identity, right? The call it like the bro industrial complex
Yeah.
of fitness, particularly on social media,
Hmm.
that's been linked to far right politics
Yep.
and extreme masculinity and extreme self-reliance, and um it might feel unaccessible to you because you don't fit in that mold.
Yeah, and a lot of them are lying. Like, remember this, like, the amount of self-made people who are like, "Oh, yeah, like, I did it all myself after my parents gave me a $500,000 interest-free loan." You're like,
Right.
"Well, wait a minute, that's not a thing that anybody has access to." So you just, "Well, how do I do that?" "Oh, it's
Right.
impossible."
Oh,
Right.
it's impossible.
You just
Got it.
got it handed to you, and then you built something on that. But the first $500,000 is really hard. You and I are well
Right.
aware, like, that's a giant hustle.
That's a
After that,
giant
things
hustle.
get easier.
Right. That's right. Shocking. After I made $500,000, the next couple million were easy. Yeah, no
Yeah.
fucking shit. I don't think this ideological divide is even just like, well, I don't see myself in that, and so there's not a space for me in that. What if the place to which you have access
Yep.
is overrun with this? You might not feel safe in that community.
Well, you might not feel safe in that community, and that's also one of the ways that community becomes self-sustaining
Yeah.
is because a scrawny 16-year-old parents give them $20 for gym membership and they walk in and they're surrounded by these people doing cool stuff and
Yeah.
being strong and looking a certain kind of way that maybe they want to look, and they're able to do things that they want to do and like, well, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Can I have some help? And they start helping them, and not in a it's I think it's fair to say not in a malicious way. You know, the
Yeah.
bad guys never know they're the bad guys. They think they're doing the good thing, and helping someone
Right.
get strong is good.
Right.
But when it comes along, when it's surrounded in this culture of really terrible things, and all of that is kind of bolted onto this idea of being strong and capable and masculine and alpha and whatever else you want to call it,
Yep.
then that's how those people become that way. That's how any culture kind of self-perpetuates. That's why the lacrosse guys were such douchebags. Because the pitch was terrible, and their practices were awful, and they did terrible things, and the hazing was insane. And a new guy would come in, I was like, well, these guys are supposed to be cool. I want to be cool. And they were introduced to that culture.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, that guy became a douchebag too.
Right. Right. That would be a really interesting topic for a podcast in the future, is on the idea of relationships and how they shape who we
Dude,
become.
I think it's a big part of it. I mean, we've got comedians guiding people's political choices, right?
Yeah.
Like they're charismatic and funny and can carry a story and be
Mm-hmm.
entertaining for, an hour or 3 at a time. And
Mm-hmm.
people are captivated because they're good at talking and they're listening and they understand
Yeah.
inflection and they understand tension. But they're just entertaining. I like entertainment.
Right.
They're entertainers who are now playing in a lane that is significantly more consequential than what
Yeah.
they're actually trained in.
Right. Right. Fun.
Yeah.
The next one that I want to talk about is neoliberalism, which we're gonna get
Boo.
where boo. So at a extremely high level, neoliberalism is the idea of like personal responsibility and of individual accountability. Somebody who might be listening to this is like, how's that different from libertarianism? I'm gonna tell you. Libertarians want essentially no government intervention, right?
Nothing.
Like they believe that taxation is theft, and they just want to be kind of left alone to do their own thing. Neoliberalism wants some government intervention on like the financial side. Like they are okay with taxes, but there's still a tremendous focus on individual accountability over collective support.
Yes. And both tend to wildly misunderstand the world and what is possible.
Correct. Agreed. So neoliberalism, as it's applied to the body, is often tied to, like, call it a fit personhood as a measure of worth,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. You are fit because you are a good person.
Right. You are fit because you are a good person who has made good choices. You have optimized your body.
Yeah.
I would argue that most of the people who use the term biohacking would really resonate with neoliberal. Wow, that was a really good eye roll. Really, really, really nice.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And it reflects more of a focus on, well, you can do anything that you've decided that you want to do. So because it hasn't happened yet, you've just decided that you don't want it enough.
Yeah, it's a lot of like Tony Robbins mindset stuff,
Yeah.
which immediately falls apart. Like it's fun. It's super cool to be in a room of people who all believe the same thing you do, cheering for the same thing. I've been to baseball games. It's a good time.
Yeah.
But these beliefs fall apart with like the slightest gust of wind from a logical perspective. And then you get attacked as like, oh, well, if it's not working, or if you don't believe this, it's because you are irresponsible or a bad
Right.
person or poor values or, all of the things that would make it not work for you, when it's actually just reality. And people don't like recognizing any degree of privilege, especially people who work really hard.
Yeah.
You can work incredibly hard and have overcome enormous obstacles and still have some privilege. All
That's
of
right.
these things can be true. And it's not,
That's right.
and having privilege that's not a character flaw. It's just a fact.
That's right. You can have had a really, really difficult life and still have immense privilege.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just because there's certain aspects of your person that aren't also an obstacle you have to overcome. That's
Right.
it.
And so the concept of neoliberalism as it pertains to the body reflects a focus on that individual accountability over any type of collective support that would allow things like access and like these ideological divides to not be factors.
Yeah. Sometimes this is also the people who had to work really hard or found it a big struggle or, failed 99 times before the 100th time worked. Not everybody for sure, but sometimes those people are the ones who say, well, why should it be easier? I had to work so hard to get here.
JD Vance.
Why shouldn't everyone else have to work incredibly hard? And I've literally like a significant portion of my professional life has been trying to not do that. Like I do all kind, and this isn't like rah rah Justin, but just like
Yeah.
the other side of the coin of like I do all kinds of free coaching consultation and stuff
Yep.
for newer coaches who want to talk about stuff.
Yep.
Because like, hey, I made like 35,000 mistakes. If I can save you from making 10 of them, that's worth it to me.
Yes.
Because ouch, my knees from all the falling over. Like,
yeah.
I think ideally we make everything a little easier for the people behind us so then they can go a little further and help the next bunch of people and we can build this thing into something useful. But
that's right. It's like you understand the idea that a rising tide raises all boats.
Yep. Yeah.
And
not scarcity.
Right. And the neoliberal would say, I just need a sturdier boat. And so I'm going to take it upon myself.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
I'm going
I
to cut
can
down
build
the tree and I'm going to carve it out. You're like, yeah. Did you forge the steel that made the saw? Did you grow that tree on the land? Oh, cool. Well, you definitely were in charge of the irrigation that let the water get to the tree, right? Oh, did you do it yourself? Did you?
Right. Yeah. It falls apart. So moving on to one that I think really goes hand in hand with access is public policy.
Yep.
Government decisions regarding public recreation, urban planning, safe streets, light fixtures, all of those types of things. Zoning, maybe you have excellent outdoor pathways and somebody decides to smack a data center nearby and the air is now polluted, right?
Yep.
Like these things directly dictate who then can afford to be and has access to be practicing their fitness in the ways that they might have chosen they'd like to.
Yeah. And possibly make it work better or less well. See, like environmental concerns or safety concerns. If you built a jogging path, but we're not going to pay another $30,000 to have it lit. That's silly. Okay. Well, a lot of people, especially females, aren't going to use it once the sun starts going down, which by the way is when they have time. So you've actually made it inaccessible to a significant amount of people.
Right. Well, why would women be afraid to run at night if we're equal? Yes. So public policy related to your community likely shapes the access that you have. Yep. And you have almost no control over that.
Very little. Yeah.
And then the last one that I have scoped out, and I'm curious if anything else comes to mind for you, is the body politic. Let's call it the body politic, which is the physical body as a political debate.
Oh, sure. Right? Yeah.
And we could look at this from the politics of like fatness, and turn on a single thing that has an advertisement and I bet you're going to see a row.co advertisement at you, to the use of fitness as a form of either resistance or conformity, right? Yeah. Did anybody see Pete Hegseth and his cronies doing kettlebell swings recently?
It was such an insult to kettlebell swings.
They were definitely doing something. Something was happening.
It's so like just tiny timeout. As someone who's done a lot of TV and events and video and things that are going to go out, like maybe they didn't know what they were going to do that day. They're ostensibly these are supposed to be very busy people with very full schedules. Maybe they're like, you're showing up. We're doing an exercise photo shoot. It'll definitely be something you can do. We're not going to give you, you're not going to be squatting 495.
Right.
And they showed up and there were kettlebells and they're like, okay, I don't know. But then there was nobody around to say, it looks really silly. You're doing it wrong. Like they obviously just don't know how to do it.
Well, here's my answer to that, actually, that makes me feel really, really, really potentially good about the state of the world, is that what if the person who instructed them how to do kettlebell swings was being maliciously compliant?
I mean, that would be beautiful.
That would be beautiful. That's such a beautiful thought, that there's some fitness instructor contracted by the federal government to train these people how to do kettlebell swings. And they're just like,
Here we
yeah,
go.
totally with your arms, totally with your low back. That looks great.
Squatting.
Let's film it.
Yeah. As you were saying.
I like to view it that way, right? But so when we think about like the politics of a body, there are so many different ways that we could split these fibers, but the body is inherently political, right? The policies that RFK either guts or enforces, those are political choices. Those are choices that impact your ability to achieve or not achieve deep health, potentially, or the access to quality information that actually is going to better your life, right? What if I am somebody who does not have the funds or the access to hire my own dietitian, to hire my own coach, to have my own person to kind of discern through the bullshit, and I'm deciding, yeah, the stuff that the government puts out is probably right. Like he has this big title and his name on a building, and so probably this is correct, when it's inherently not.
And policy, this is politics, and it guides everything.
Yeah.
Like there was, I think we might have talked about this before, but in the 70s, if you ever watch like old 60s, 70s shows, I used to watch a lot of like Nick and Night and things like that. And one of the giant treats once in a blue moon is that dad would get to have steak. Like mom would cook steak, or maybe everyone would get it, but it was like, dad loves steak and we're getting steak, and oh my goodness. And it was a big giant deal because it was really, really expensive. And it was really expensive. And it remained really expensive until we started subsidizing the living fuck out of the American Cattlemen's Association.
Yeah.
And now, meat at time of recording, meat prices are high, but not relative to what they were.
Right.
Because of, it's a political decision. We are going to subsidize this, so more meat is grown here, so it stays in the country, so people have more access. That is a one-to-one. We are essentially, all the meat in America is, or the vast majority of it is subsidized by the U.S. government. And access to healthcare, and access to vaccination, and access to all of it, and the information that these things are a good idea, bad idea, etc.
Right. Yeah. Something comes to mind that my mother-in-law tells this story of that her family would get steak once a year. She's one of 5.
Yeah.
And all the kids would get like one big bite, and they just chew on it for ages, like, steak, yum. And, in a not malicious way, she has shared that as like, we have it so lucky and we're so fortunate, and like how prosperous we are to be able to eat the way that we do. And like, yeah, that's true.
Yes.
And also, the reason that that's more affordable and accessible to us in the first place is because of the government. Like that's politics. And so when we say, I just prefer to like not get political, baby, everything's political.
Yeah, it is political.
It is political. It's inherently political. Before I hand it off to you for maybe any closing thoughts that might have, well, no, that's not true. I had something else come to mind that's related to something I've been really on my high horse about recently, and I can't believe I didn't remember it when I was planning this. Fitness for women.
Yeah.
I cannot believe this didn't come to mind because of everything.
That's exactly where I was going. I was like, am I about to dunk on Wheezy with fitness for women? Sweet.
No. This is a no dunk zone. This is my episode. No dunks. Fitness for women is inherently political because we have not had access for that long.
Literally access. Like women couldn't join.
You cannot be here.
Lots of gyms. The rules were terrible.
Yeah. Not even just, are you allowed to be in this building, but is this something that your medical team believes is safe and appropriate for you? And for many, it was like, women can't go running because their uterus might fall out of their body, or women don't have the capacity to lift heavy weights. It's not in their constitutional makeup.
And in the extremely recent past, I mean, I honestly feel like it's only been the past 15-ish years that the idea of women doing something other than step aerobics, jazzercise, body weight, the light pink dumbbells, a million crunches, and
Vibration
that's
plate
it.
rooms.
But definitely not doing like compound movements with significant resistance.
No.
Definitely not actively trying to build muscle in any way has been in even sort of acceptable in what might be adjacent to the mainstream. Like
Right.
it was the furthest thing away. And that's fairly where lots of people got their information. Like I remember growing up, like how many times does a 13-year-old girl have to be told that this many sit-ups and this kind of lunge is how Cindy Crawford looks the way that Cindy Crawford looks
Yeah.
before she's just going to do it? It's like, well, she's
Right.
the most famous, beautiful person on the planet at this point, according to Pepsi. So why wouldn't I do that? She published her workout right here. She published her diet right here. I'm going to do that.
And I'll look like her.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. We've talked about this recently, and I posted a reel about it recently as well, but women were not allowed to run marathons until 1972.
Yeah.
And
like it was against the rules.
It was against the rules.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about Catherine Switzer before and how she jumped into the marathon and was like attempted to be forcibly removed.
Yeah, assaulted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
But even more recently than that, like if you're like poo-pooing, like, well, 72 is almost 100 years ago. Fine, whatever. In 2012 was the first Olympics that every country that was represented at the Olympics sent a woman. Not even an equal parity of women to men, but just, hey, sent a woman.
Yeah.
Check the box. Gender representation.
Yep.
Right? So the act of fitness for women, particularly as we're thinking about like strength training, is revolutionary. And it is really, really grinding my gears at the number of female fitness creators or coaches. Doesn't necessarily have to be creators, but the ones that are staying silent right now is almost intolerable to me.
Yeah. It can feel like a betrayal because like, isn't this the point? Aren't we supposed to be strong and capable and independent? And there, without saying, this could all get taken away, right? Like you're out of your mind if you don't think there are people in very high positions of power who think women should only be allowed to go to women's only gyms.
Yeah.
And those do not need anything heavier than a 5-pound dumbbell in them.
Right. Yeah.
And there's plenty of places in the world today that's true, by the way.
Yeah.
I've talked to like potential clients and other people who were like, oh, well, yes, I go to a gym here in Dubai, but it's a women's only gym. And here's the clothing we have to wear. And here's the rules around this. And those are just the rules.
Yeah.
This isn't a, I'm deciding to do it. This is, I do this or I break the law.
Yeah. And if I break the law, I go to prison. So before I think we close, I want to do a brief review of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So for anybody unfamiliar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's a pyramid, right? Base of the pyramid has to be sturdy before it makes any sense at all to think about the thing higher up in the pyramid, right? At the base of Maslow's pyramid, which is a model for understanding the motivations for human behavior, we have physiological needs, which includes food, shelter, sleep, water, breathing, warmth, and clothing.
Yeah.
Right. Next up, we have safety needs, which is health, property, stability, resources, and employment. How many people in your life do you know that already are lacking one of those items?
Yeah, huge.
Right? As we creep up the pyramid, we go to love and belonging, which is meaningful relationships, acceptance, and friendships. Then we go into esteem needs, which is independence, confidence, respect. And then at the tippy top, self-actualization, which is morals, creativity, autonomy, deep fulfillment, right? All of those things require societal access to them.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you are boxed out of being able to access property or own property, or like, hey, I couldn't possibly put together security deposit and first and last month. And so I quite literally can't live in the city.
Yeah. You
Then
don't get to live there, which might mean you don't get to work there, which
right,
might mean you don't have access to all of these things, and so on and so forth, because you don't have $8,000 lying around to put down.
right. It is really, really egregious to talk about things like independence and autonomy and fulfillment and personal responsibility and acceptance and meaningful relationships when we don't have the base of the pyramid covered for the majority of our citizens.
Can you tell me more about that?
I mean, and I'm speaking, I don't know if they'll listen to this. This might just be me like observing things on social media and shouting into the void, which is fine if that's true. I get really frustrated when people talk about autonomy and personal responsibility and, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and
Mhm.
anybody can achieve this and you just need to be confident that this is the outcome for you, when there are deep societal things at play that are the fence posts before that.
Yes. Yes, I agree with that. I don't think it I think it's all useful to talk about, right? It's not
Correct.
it's certainly, and this is for fitness creators or anybody else, like, I talk about confidence all the time
Sure.
and how that is one of the greater goods and actually one of the points of fitness and strength training and
Sure.
that kind of stuff. And I also talk all the time about how, like, working one-on-one isn't easy and it isn't accessible to everyone.
Right.
That is true, and recognizing that uh, attention and resources and energy should also go toward people who don't have those things. And
Right.
especially recognizing that overwhelmingly, the reason they don't have those things is none of their fault.
Right.
It has been thrust upon them to a very, very, very large degree. And a side note, I think if you're, we talked about this earlier, like if you're 3 steps ahead, reach back and pull someone up a step.
Right.
And it doesn't, you don't have to adopt 10 immigrants, but you should be helping making your greater society a better place, because you're only where you are because of the way society is right now.
That's right. That's right. I'm glad that you said that, because I don't think it's a waste of time to think about these things at the top of the pyramid if the things lower aren't happening. I think it is egregious to only think about that and to only think from that like neoliberal total personal responsibility standpoint, because there's so much more at play than that, and that's such a naive stance.
Well, and it's like, as we said before, it's really frustrating when there are big giant things staring you in the face
Mhm.
to have people pretend like nothing's happening or
Yeah.
seem like they're pretending nothing's happening is
Right.
really frustrating. Like
Yeah.
when COVID went down, everybody was talking about it to some degree pretty quickly. There
Yeah.
were, and the few places I remember where they weren't, they kind of mentioned they weren't. Like, hey, we're a dumb comedy food podcast. People have reached out and told us that all they want to do is laugh for an hour. We know, we get it. We're going to try and make you laugh for an hour and be real dumb. Cool. All right, here we go, guys. And away you
Sick.
go.
Right.
Um, and to have things that are so egregious and so overwhelming staring you in the face and not recognize it feels like they're looking down the pyramid and pretending none of those people matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And that can feel like, I mean, I truly feel like I don't know some of the people who I am supposed to know the closest.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get and this is kind of a side note. Like, I understand the push pull, even as a business, of like, well, honestly, like, what I want is a few more leads, and what I want is to
Yeah.
tell people about the thing I actually do.
Right.
And if I say a thing that people vehemently disagree with,
Yeah.
but I could really, really help them, am I shooting myself in the foot? For my kind of business, no, because I know I don't want to work with people like that. And I know
Right.
partly because I know it won't go well. Like, they're not going to like my style. They're not going to like my vibe. Even if I never mention a political thing, like, we're just not going to get along, which will mean the thing won't work very well. So we
Right.
won't start working together. People who are selling, a big nutrition template, I understand. And you're making a decision, right? We talk
Yeah.
all the time about, like, you are heading in one direction or another. You're not
Right.
staying still. You're not neutral. There's
Right.
like, you're in
No.
the mix
No.
and you are.
Saying nothing is a choice. Always.
Yeah.
Like, not even related to this, related to anything.
Yeah.
Um
And if that's your choice and you stand by it, that's totally cool.
Cool.
But I'm also noticing.
Right. Yeah. This is not necessarily like a call out to start virtue signaling. If you're listening to this
Yeah,
and you're
I'm
like, I
also
haven't
like,
been talking about any of this at all. That's, let's not get into the everybody post a black square on their
right.
feed territory.
Mhm.
The call out would be to just notice what things in your life have potentially been influenced by politics, right? Like, particularly for women, if you have a bank account, if you have a credit card that is not in your partner's name, if you own property, if you own a business, if you strength train, if you drive a car in some places, right? Like, those are decisions that 200 years ago you might not have been able to make. And you might not want those things now, particularly like when we're thinking about the trad wife movement, right? You might not want to own anything. You might want your husband to take care of anything. But deciding I don't want that is also
You
deeply
get to make a choice.
feminist. Right.
Yeah.
You got to make the choice. It was not thrust upon you.
Yeah.
And so noticing, like, particularly if you're somebody who's frustrated about how political everything is right now and how charged it is, I would encourage you to just start looking around your life and the privileges that you enjoy and questioning, in what way is this rooted in politics? And start noticing, who does this maybe not serve?
Mhm.
In labor with Jack was able to use a cervical ripening agent. That is a cervical ripening agent that they use in abortions that they are
Mhm.
trying very hard to ban. It was crucial in allowing me to have the unmedicated, non-epidural birth that I wanted and still keep me progressing the way that I wanted to progress on the timeline that the hospital wanted me to progress on.
Yeah.
If I did not have access to that, I might have had a completely different birth,
Yeah.
right?
Completely.
If that drug is outlawed, I would not have had access to it. Like, hard stop. That would not have been a choice I could make. There are these examples everywhere in your life that you look. And so my nudge would be to just start to notice, pay attention to how much of your life is actually political, and then make choices accordingly.
Exactly. And I think maybe as my final note is, this isn't about teams. This isn't about one side or the
No,
other. I cannot
no.
tell you how disappointed, empathetic I find Democrats, and that's about a 35-year-old opinion from me. Like,
Yeah,
they've been kind of useless for most of my life.
yeah.
Uh, I've been more toward that side than the other, but I don't like a political party. I have some very dear friends who you would look at them and be like, oh, well, they have a lot of American flag stuff and own a bunch of guns and really care about church and go to their church group. And they are incredibly thoughtful, empathetic, caring people who fight deeply for a lot of the things we've been talking about. And these are
Hmm.
not contradictions.
Yeah, no.
You are allowed to believe the things you believe and make political decisions that you believe serve you, the people you love, and the community around you. And don't get bullied into thinking, well, just because I'm in a gym, I have to be an immediate douchebag. Just
Right,
because I believe in this religion, I have to vote this way. None of those things are true. Don't
right.
teams are dangerous, and this isn't anti-church or anti-politics or anything, but uh, a little bit of thoughtfulness and being willing to step outside of what other people very, very close to you are automatically doing will often
Hmm.
lead to a more interesting and nuanced life as well.
Yeah, yeah. And to reference a prior podcast that we did that I can't remember the name of it. So you'll just have to listen to all of them. The cost of change can be high. It can cost you things. It can cost you money. It can cost you relationships. It can cost you an identity. It might cost you a job. But just getting curious and noticing what around you has been influenced by politics and what choices you've either been making or not making based on maybe things that you aren't sure are true.
Yeah. And I'm still regularly surprised by like, oh, this policy did that. What? That's incredible.
Yeah.
And that's not because I'm poorly informed. It's just because there's a lot going on. But examining where things come from and maybe where some long-standing assumptions are rooted can often change things.
So if you hated this, we'll see you next week with something else. You promise not to just shout about politics into the void for the next 12 weeks aside.
Next week I'm going to pick on CrossFit. So that'll be fun for some people.
Are you really?
A lot of people, but CrossFit is slightly in the crosshairs.
Really?
Yeah.
How exciting.
Yeah. It'll be great. So if this was no fun and that sounds like fun, cool. If not, I think I'm doing something about trauma-informed resources in a few weeks too. I've got a couple things sketched out.
So we've got just a barrel of laughs coming up for you. We're nothing but fun here at Training Partners.
It's going to be great. Making fun of CrossFit's fun. I love CrossFit.
Making fun of CrossFit is fun.
Yeah.
Should we do a segment?
Let's do a segment. On a slightly lighter note, this segment is called Does It Fit? We're about to play Does It Fit? If you check the door of Sustained, I've had a massive package delivered to you, and we're going to see if things fit.
What?
That's a lie. That's a lie. I just want to see the expression on your face. So what I am going to do, this is a comparison game. I absolutely came up with the name of this and worked backwards.
Sure.
I'm going to give you two standard objects, and you have to tell me which is bigger. And I will give you the metric we're working with.
Okay.
So, and my example question, which is taller, a standard front-loading washing machine or the height of a ping pong net? So like when you're playing ping pong, the very top of the net, that's a standardized height. A standard front-loading washing machine, that has a standardized height.
Does it have a pedestal or is it without pedestal?
I don't understand the question, so I'm going to say no pedestal.
Justin! I'm going to say the ping pong table is taller.
That is a frequent answer and wrong. Ping pong table is 30 inches. The net is 6 inches, brings it to 36. A standard washing machine is 39 inches.
I'm going to look up if that's with or without pedestal.
What pedestal what? Why would I, huh?
You don't understand.
I don't understand.
That's okay.
You mean for the washing machine? Like for drainage?
Yeah, like often when there's a standing one, it has if we're talking about a front-loaded one, it's on a pedestal of some sort.
If it's part of the machine, look, the internet told me a front-loading washing machine was 39 inches tall.
Fine.
You could look it up later. Everyone's looking it up for you now. They're going to tell you about it.
Laden or unladen?
Exactly. I mixed some like normal standardized stuff and some like fitnessy stuff in here.
Sure.
I tried to do all fitnessy stuff and it just got too weird where it's like, no, like there's so many sizes of medicine balls. There's so many sizes of dumbbells.
Right. Sure.
There's sizes of bumper plates and I had to throw a bunch of that stuff out.
Got it.
Which is taller? A standard 2-liter soda bottle or a standard bowling pin?
A bowling pin's taller.
That is correct. 15 inches compared to 12 inches. So, one. You have one in the positive column.
Yay.
Which is longer? A standard 20-kilogram Olympic barbell or the width of a king-size bed?
A barbell.
Correct. 86.6 inches compared to 76 inches. I like this one. Which has a greater volume? A standard basketball or a 1-gallon water jug?
Oh, I bet it's the water jug.
It is not. A basketball is 1.6 gallons, right?
Wow.
I couldn't believe that.
No, I've been lied to.
Which is taller? Coming back to the ping pong table. A ping pong table standing on end. So take the table and stand it up.
Mm-hmm.
Or a standard basketball hoop.
Oh, a standard basketball hoop.
Correct, but not by much. The ping pong table is 9 feet long. So 9 feet compared to 10 feet.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Which is longer? A standard NFL football or a standard sheet of printer paper?
I bet it's the football by like a quarter of an inch.
It's exactly by a quarter of an inch. That's 11 to 11.25 inches, and printer paper is 11 inches.
Take
so
that,
it's either
Tom
a tie
Brady.
or longer. Fitnessy one. Which is longer? A standard treadmill running deck. So how long is the deck that you run on?
Sure.
Or a Peloton bike measured height to the handlebars?
I think it's a treadmill.
It is. Most treadmills are 55 to 60 inches. Peloton tops out at 53 inches. Which is wider? A standard weight bench or 2 standard running shoes side by side? So like the toes of the shoes pointing at the end of the bench. Like if you were to get up and stand on the bench the narrow way.
Well, but what size?
Standard. Let's say a men's size 11.
Oh, then it's definitely shoes.
It is not.
That's bullshit.
Bench is 11 to 12 inches. Shoes are 8 to 9 inches side to side.
No way.
Yeah.
Maybe not wide toe box shoes.
I don't know if that would be considered standard. I said the word standard a lot.
Whatever. That's semantics.
All right, last one. Which is longer? A 15 kilogram women's Olympic barbell or the height of a standard interior doorway?
I think the barbell's taller.
The barbell is shorter by 1 inch. It's 79 inches versus 80 inches.
Wow. Look at that.
Still, extraordinary work. 5
Thank
correct,
you.
only 3 wrong.
Wow. Look at me.
There it is.
Passing grade.
This has been Does It Fit?
You create segments in reverse, which I really admire.
I sometimes create segments in reverse, absolutely. My notes are like, what is this game? What is this game? Can we fit? Can I like hold stuff off and be like, is it gonna fit? Like, what are we gonna do?
Oh my gosh. That's a good segment to end politics episode with. Great job. Well done. Well done. Team, this has been Training Partners. I'm Wheezy Shoemaker. That's Justin McClintock. We'll see you next time.
Later, team.
Here come your training partners, so smart, so strong, so funny. Let's go with your training partners. We're ready to shine.